Well, joining us tonight, former Congressman, former Chairman of the House Oversight Committee, Jason Chaffetz, also best-selling author, Fox Business contributor. Jason, great to have you with us. Let's start with first the most egregious act on the part of the FBI in this country's history, that is surveilling a president. A FISA court judge, the supervising judge of that court system, saying they can clean up their act at some point near, but really should try hard, basically, is the way I interpreted it. Your thoughts?
I thought it was the weakest of responses you could possibly get from a court. Lou, if you or I or just anybody in the public made 17 serious errors and omissions in filings with the court, you'd probably have handcuffs on and be going to jail. So the idea that they're just going to say, hey, FBI, why don't you do better and explain that to us in a few weeks, how you're going to get things right, I thought was as weak as you could possibly do. I can't believe there are no repercussions. There should be consequences. The court could do that and then also work to fix things moving forward. But I thought the response overall was pathetic.
Now, isn't it sad that we have to give her credit for at least recognizing, acknowledging that there is a corrupt issue here, a problem with the court system and the FBI, and then suggesting that somebody tell us how to do it better. I have one thought: disband the FISA courts and bring to account both parties who just authorized those FISA courts and their surveillance over the course of, for another 90 days, extending it in the midst of this scandal that is an atrocity against our Constitution and the American way of life.
Yeah, until you gain some confidence in it. The worry is there are some legitimate concerns of terrorists and other things that need to be continued on. But I got to tell you, the court could send a real message to the Department of Justice by putting some handcuffs on some people. Instead, you have James Comey out there, working the media, putting out an op-ed saying he was cleared of anything that was any wrongdoing. I tell you what, how about holding people accountable that actually signed those things? How about holding the attorney who prepared and altered documents? How about bringing him before the court and throwing him into jail? The court has the ability to do that. They're choosing not to do it, and it's showing a weakness that is just impalatable.
If I may, let's raise the ante. Let's take the leaders of the FBI, all of those officials. Let's take Glenn Simpson, his partner, Fusion GPS. By the way, bring into account the Democrats' favorite law firms, and bring them together, and then reach out and extend our outrage to British citizens by the name of Christopher Steele, first and foremost, and bring them to account. This is a hideous atrocity. This scandal is, we are only beginning to learn the dimensions, and it's already the biggest in our country's history.
Yeah, the number you cited, only one instance in 2018 did the court say, no, we're not going to rubber stamp and approve that. Is really a stunning number.
It is.
That's unbelievable.
It's incredible. And then, by the way, the FBI, the Justice Department, various intelligence agencies will come to us and suggest that, well, they've got to have those courts to keep. It's just unbelievable what we are putting up with in this corrupt system, and what we really have to put an end to. I want to turn to, speaking of corruption, the radical Dems and their efforts to overthrow this president.
Right.
And it has, the president today wrote a beautiful letter, a terrific letter to Nancy Pelosi, which she responded to by saying it was ridiculous, sick. In point of fact, it was elegant, it was comprehensive, and it put her and the radical Dems who have attacked this president mercilessly for over 3 years, precisely where they should be, and that is in the focus of history for decades to come.
Yeah, I hope everybody has a chance to read that letter. I thought the president really pointed out the flaws and the arguments. I think the president was absolutely right. I'm glad that he did it. And I know you know this, Lou, but I want to remind people at home, I think what Nancy Pelosi said in the last 2 or 3 days when she was challenged as to why they're trying to rush this through so fast, Nancy Pelosi said, oh no, we've been working on this for like 2.5, 3 years. I think that showed more about intent and what they were doing, that the moment Donald Trump was being sworn in as the president, this is exactly the playbook. They ended up not having the evidence because Mueller never produced for them. The Horowitz report destroyed them, but they decided to do it anyway. That's what's going to happen tomorrow on Wednesday, and it's a complete and total travesty.
It is that, and the debate, the vote to come tomorrow in the House. I have a nomination for you that may surprise you tonight for the Lou Dobbs Great American of the Week so far, and that is none other than Mitch McConnell responding to Chuck Schumer.
That's a first, isn't it, Lou?
This is a first, a glorious night, I'm sure, in the McConnell household. But this is what the majority leader said in response to Chuck Schumer. Let's just play this. The sound of the majority leader.
The Senate is meant to act as judge and jury, to hear a trial, not to rerun the entire fact-finding investigation because angry partisans rushed sloppily through it. The trajectory that the Democratic leader apparently wants to take us down, before he's even heard opening arguments, could set a nightmarish precedent for our institution.
Jason Chaffetz, your thoughts, your reaction to the majority leader standing with the president strongly, and it looks as though perhaps the entire conference of the Senate will stand with the president.
I want to second the nomination that you made there, Lou, because I think you're right. I think Mitch McConnell is showing some true leadership there. I think what has happened in the House was an absolute, totally destructive to the United States Congress as a whole. I'm glad to hear Mitch McConnell speak the truth and be plain and blunt and not shy away from it, tell it and call it like it is. And hey, more power to the majority leader. I thought Mitch McConnell was right on.
Absolutely. And Jason, we appreciate you being with us tonight, as always.
Thank you.
You're right on. Thanks so much.